Hey, welcome to a ton of open studio. This is episode 11. You can send tracks in to get in-depth mix coaching, feedback, analysis. I spent like a half hour yesterday walking someone through how to acoustically treat their room. It's whatever it needs to be. So, if you have tracks, you can send them to atonuvrecords@gmail.com. And I'm going to do this every day at 6 p.m. Eastern, with, maybe a couple of exceptions here and there. And for the first week, I was doing just kind of a running stream from 6 to 8. And I'm tweaking the format a little bit. And I'm going to say this a lot just so people get used to it. And tracks that show up before 6, I will run through them and do the whole thing on those tracks. And then if stuff doesn't come in during that time, then I'm going to call the stream, done for the day. And then this way, when someone gets to a replay, or if you were asleep because of a time zone difference while your track was getting looked at, you'll be able to look at a replay and know that you're just going to be getting content out of the length of the replay. So trimming the fat, getting rid of me just hanging out while I wait for tracks. So if you are watching and you want to send something, feel free to send it now, and I'll get to it. And if not, send it later tonight, tomorrow morning, and then I'll get it in tomorrow's stream. For today, I have two masters from David, who has been working on this Billie Eilish remix, and it's really coming along over the last week. It's been really cool. And there was a little too much bass in the choruses, but David's having trouble opening the original project, so it has to get fixed in the master, which is sometimes the nature of reality. So we have two versions right here. One's with an SSL compressor, and the other with the TDR. I'm going to say this so wrong. Kotelnikov. I think I'm actually pretty close. I am not familiar with that one. So I'm going to do a blind A/B and see which one I think sounds better. So this is kind of fun. So I'm going to download those tracks. And this is, within the realm of copyrighted material. So I will be muting the stream while I listen to them. If you have a cover or a track that you don't want broadcast to the entire internet right now, just let me know, and I can mute the stream when I listen to it. So there is that. So I am downloading those tracks, and I will get to those in a minute. And if you are just joining and wondering what's going on, this is a ton of open studio. Totally live mix feedback. It is every night at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. So if you've got something, you can send it to atonuvrecords@gmail.com. That is in the description. And I am just getting everything all set up to play. All right. So, I'm going to go ahead, load these tracks in, doing a blind test. That is going to be cool. Which one of these is better? All right. So, I am going to be listening to a Billie Eilish remix, so I am muting the stream. It will be silent for a few minutes. All right. So, going to go ahead and load. All right, there's my copyright warning. And here we go, silence. All right. David, this is great. It's I'd say you're done. If I had to pick between the two, it would be 6. First off, I feel like there's just a little more depth and like a little bit deeper soundstage in general, and I can't say for sure if that is the color of the different compressor or it's just a little bit less smashed. So that could be it. It might not be the different compressor because it's not like this huge night and day difference, but it is definitely just a little hair less squashed, which is what I think it needs more than like a different color. It's a technical issue. So it is addressed in version 6. When the chorus hits, there is it's pushing like the very very edge of dynamic range and our average loudness and all of that, but it's only pushing it, whereas version 5 is still just squashing it to death when that bass comes in. Version 6, either through your settings that you used, and maybe that compressor was just maybe a little more intuitive, or you just gelled with it, or you vibed with it a little bit stronger. That could be the case, or you or that compressor is just maybe a little less aggressive. So that does it. Version 6. That's my personal choice on the matter. It sounds a little bit better, a little more hi-fi, a little bit deeper, and it also doesn't squash your track to its to death, basically. So I love it. It sounds great. Really, really, really cool to see this just change and get shaped over the last week. Amazing stuff. So definitely send stuff anytime. And folks, here we are. This is a Ton of Open Studio. This is every day. And yeah, I'll let you know what's up. So for the first week of this stream, I've just been letting it run from 6 to 8 o'clock, totally, just waiting for tracks to come in. And I decided to tweak the format yesterday. I think it's going to pay off once we have more stuff coming in and people, watching. I'm going to go ahead and anything that gets sent to me before 6 p.m. Eastern, I will look and analyze on that day's stream at 6. But I'm not going to let the stream just run for 2 hours while I wait for stuff. Because I was watching some old stuff and realized that there's just a lot of dead time. And if someone sent something in and they want to get to like their track, if they want to watch a replay the next day, if they were asleep while I was doing it, because there's a lot of people over in Eastern Europe, and that's been super cool. So I'm just going to stick to the stuff that gets sent before 6 or, right at the beginning of the stream, just to cut down on dead time. So as of this moment, I have worked through the day's tracks. It was David's stuff. So if anyone has something and they want to send it now, I can totally take a look at it. Or if you have a question about any audio thing, I can address that. And going to give it a couple of minutes. And if nothing comes in, then we'll go ahead and we'll call it a night. Send stuff absolutely whenever. I love getting it. And share the stream so that we get more tracks to come in, and then we can listen to a bunch of stuff together, learn a bunch of techniques, and all of that. So, gonna go ahead and give it a minute. Oh, cool. Just got something. Okay, Cool. So Scarholm sent this a few days ago, did some fixing. This was a really cool track, so I am excited to take a listen to it. Okay, here is this new version. I'm stoked.
Vågorna sjunger, månen är där. Jag ser igenom vår atmosfär. Och solen strålar in
And this is just a little audio tag to protect the track.
För det finns ljus för en annan. Vi går tillsammans. Vi går ju samma väg. Ta oss till himlen, tillbaka i minnet. Ja. Ge oss ett jävla rymdskepp. Vi skulle ju tuta. Vi skulle
Just filling this in.
Vi vann i vår ruta och lägga en skuta. Vi skulle ju tuta. Så känner jag. Så känner jag. Så känner jag. Så känner jag. Vi går tillbaka för länge sen. Cirkulerar och möts igen. Och tar i hand med mina ord. Där på lågornas små jord. För det finns ljus för en annan. Vi går tillsammans. Vi går ju samma väg. Ta oss till himlen, tillbaka i sinnet. Ja. Jag säger staten var det vårt rymdskepp. Vi skulle ju tuta. Vi skulle ju tuta. Vi vann i vår ruta och lägga en skuta. Vi skulle ju tuta. Så känner jag. Så känner jag. Så känner jag. Så känner jag.
Such a solid track. Yeah, it's nice and super clean, really nice and fixed up, pretty well balanced. So in your email, you mentioned that I know we talked about last time, like adding in, like dropping in a hook, making it feel like bigger as it builds. And you tried putting in some melody and a super saw. Didn't work because it's the same melody as the guitar riff, and you feel like the guitar riff got lost. So let's talk about that, because I still, like, I love this track, and it still feels like we're not getting that, like, maximum lift that could happen by having something hook, because the foundational elements of this track are superb. Like, vocals are catchy, the groove incredibly catchy, the guitar super catchy. I love the way that it, like, that treatment on it, those effects, it really, really, really sounds unique and it sounds good, and I love it. I'm just feeling like there needs to be more stuff that comes in. So this is like a mixing thing. you would be able to layer in a hook to join the guitar and still maintain separation in the mix and not have the guitar get lost, even if it's playing the same melody. So this is, I would think that this is a great time to exercise some mixing stuff. So, what I would look at is try to drop in that melody to accompany it again. And as of this moment, like, the mix is still very mid-range focused. Like lots of info up to 1.5K, and then we start to drop off a little bit. It's not as extreme as some of the earlier mixes, and I know we've talked about it. It's like you're in a space, and there might be some frequency issues in your space where it's not comfortable to have a lot of info above 2K. But you've also sent me reference tracks that are like nice and flat above 2K. So I think that we got to like bridge this gap a little bit in your mixes. So this is kind of an opportunity to do it. What I would look at is to drop in an accompanying hook that mirrors the melody of the guitar line. Make sure, because let me just illustrate what I'm talking about. Flat from 30 to 1.5K. Like very, I mean, we also dip a little bit at 200, which is another thing. I feel like it could be a little bit punchier, especially in the snare. So that's a place that you could just get a little, like I'm talking like 2 dB at 200 on that snare, just to give it a little bit of oomph. But, you know, very, very flat, very controlled, very nice. And then right here, 1.5K, that frequency, we have a big average dip down. And then this thing at 16K, this is an MP3, so it's probably just that. And then this is the snare spiking at 3.5 and 6.5. That's totally cool, but what I would want to do, and so it's like a little bit pokey. The snare is a little bit pokey. Like you could either tame that snare and then have everything be a little bit dead above 1.5K, or you could get this info and just average out this curve. So I see this as a huge opportunity. If you dropped in an accompanying melody that mirrored that guitar line, just get pretty aggressive on cutting out the mids on that synth. Like I would imagine like a nice warm organic synth line would do it. But you know, you play with the tone, play with the texture, but get pretty cutty in your mids so that it doesn't overwhelm the guitar. If you want the guitar to stay forward in the mix, which I understand why, because it's a great guitar line and it is driving the whole piece, but it needs to have something back it up, especially in the second half of the track. Otherwise, it's just too samey throughout the thing. So scoop out the mids on an accompanying line and give it some nice presence from 2 to 4K and like 4 to 6K. Like there's plenty of opportunity to add that air and that bite and that crispiness to the mix. Like you've left yourself that space, so now you have the opportunity to back it up. So that would be like my first go-to instinctual move on this is back the guitar up and or give it back up, not bring it back in the mix. So you know, give the guitar a friend that goes with it, something that has like a very, very nice bright presence to it, and then it won't swamp the guitar and it won't pull focus from the guitar, because the guitar is very mid-range focused, so it's going to be naturally forward in the mix. So you can fill out that air and do that. That would be like my first thought. So give them frequency separation when you blend it in. Then there's like spatial separation. You could have this hook line come in over the guitar and put it in a fair amount of reverb, because the track could also use maybe a little more stereo dimension and spatial stuff, and this would be an opportunity to get that. So if you get some reverb on that line, then it's going to push it a little bit further back in the mix, and it's also going to make your mix feel deeper, wider, and bigger. So you can kind of get, two birds, one stone there. All of these are kind of two birds, one stone moves, because there's a frequency deficit in the mix, and there's also like a spatial deficit. So you could get both. And you're still going to get a nice forward guitar line if you don't send that to the verb. So you can verb out an accompaniment. Frequency separation, verb separation. You could also do some panning. You could center the guitar and then do mid-side on an accompanying synth and have it get like really, really wide and like pushed out to the edges. Maybe that. Yeah, and that's kind of where my brain is at on this exact moment, because it's so cool. Like, this is an absolute like playing in the store radio hit. And I think that some of those moves could really push it over the top. Yeah, and like the mix is super good. Like, I'm right now I am once again nitpicking because it's so close. And it's really good. Your low end is really, really nice and controlled. And all of that. I'm gonna just listen again for a second to get my head back into the track. And talking over it a little bit. Yeah. Okay, so bring it down a little bit. Okay, so like right here, this first, so we bring it down right there, and we've done like everything up to this point. Okay, so the guitar is building. Okay, and then the kick drops right there, and that's really satisfying. So it's like right here, this transition, if it just opened up right there, we would get that next level of satisfaction. Because, okay, it's dropped. And you're opening up a filter. So you're halfway there right there, because you're going for it. Like, I can hear that filter opening up on the guitar, but we don't have that resolution of the top end all of a sudden opening up. And, you could drop in, even something as simple as like some cymbals, or like even a hi-hat thing, just something splashy and bright, like right there, because you're already opening up a filter. And what I want as a listener at that point is for something to like really hit in that open, like above 2K area. Yeah, I want the explosion. Exactly. Yeah, I mean, it can be sometimes, I mean, sometimes the most cliche thing is the answer, but you know, in your typical session, that's where you would be like, oh yeah, let's put a big cymbal wash, to just open up the top end, because I want to. You've already written a transition, like you did it on purpose, and you already did it. You did the hard work of writing the song and having it be like well formatted and arranged. You already did the hard work. Now you just got to fill in the cues that people need to follow. And I'm talking like cymbal wash, high end opening up, uh, and all of that, because there's so much, like all of the details are there, the automations are there, the mix is already quite good. Yeah, a ride would absolutely do the trick. Yeah, the arrangement needs to get more exciting up top. So get some cymbals on it, get some rides, uh, and experiment with getting some backups to accompany that guitar line. And, you know, maybe it isn't a synth, maybe it's another guitar, maybe it's a harmony guitar, just stack thirds, stack fifths, and it just needs to get fleshed out because the line is really good. The hook is really, 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 really good. It's catchy, but we need it to feel like it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger as the track progresses. So more stuff needs to play that line and experiment with mixing it. So, because you could have harmonies, backups, counter melodies on that hook, and the guitar could still be forward in the mix if you just get like kind of cutty with what's backing up the guitar and then pushing them into the frequency spectrum that isn't already there. So, yeah, I mean, like in a nutshell, it's great. Really love what's happened with it, and just keep developing it because it's crazy close. I'm a big fan. All right, so if you are just dropping by, we're having a great time. If you would like to send a track, you can at absolutely any time. Just send it to atonuvrecords@gmail.com. And this is the 11th night of doing this. I'm here every day at 6 p.m. Eastern. Always happy to listen to stuff. Now, this is my public service announcement. For the first week, I started the stream at 6, and then I would let it run until 8, and kind of like letting people send tracks in as it went. And this led to a lot of downtime. If you watched a replay of me just kind of waiting for tracks and all that. And I've decided that it is going to be better content if I just focus the stream on stuff that I have when the stream starts, and like not wait for tracks all the time. So as of this moment, I don't have any tracks. If anyone has something, you could send it in now and I would still take a listen. But, you know, we'll go ahead and call it a day. If nothing's out there, totally cool. And then this way, when you watch a replay, you know that the beginning to the end of it is going to have stuff on it. So it'll be cool for everybody. And I'm going to go ahead. I'm just going to give this a minute. And while we are waiting, I'm going to go ahead and do the Patreon shout out. There is a Patreon in the description. I just want to say thanks to the folks who have already hopped on. This is like crazy that there's already been a great response, and we're only a week into this. Tons of people are watching from all over the world, sending tracks in from everywhere. It's been super cool. So thank you, everybody, and thank you to Demeter and Mason. That link is in the description. And yeah, you can get the shout out, you can get one-on-one coaching, all of that. As far as what I have in the works in my brain, is I want to start doing like a weekly or bi-weekly live mix. It'll probably wind up being on Sundays. And that'll be through the Patreon once we have a little more critical mass with folks sending stuff in, and after some community building happens, all of that. But I'm excited about the idea. But basically, I'll stream a whole mix session. I'll take in stems from somebody from the community and do a mix live. So that is in the works. I'm kind of talking it up now so that we can get some interest around it. But that is going to happen. All right. So I'm just going to check my email and see if something has come in. Cool. All right, folks. This is Atonuv Open Studio. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's always awesome, and tracks have been amazing. I'm going to go ahead and call it for tonight. Send stuff to atonuvrecords@gmail.com. And yeah, anything that I get between now and 6 p.m. tomorrow, I'll do a big deep dive in and go through the mix. So, everyone take care. It's been awesome. I'll see you tomorrow.